Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tyria then. It is episode 25. We are a quarter of the way to the big hundo. How does that feel,
Yes,
Miko?
that feels pretty cool.
Are we a real show yet?
Yes, we've
Is
been
it,
doing this for a year almost.
yeah, this is going to be so the next episode I think is going to be our 1 year episode, but being episode 26.
Is
Um,
our penultimate
yeah, this is
or
25, so
whatever it
this is
is.
going to
Yeah.
be our penultimate to the 1 year mark. But we've
Mm-hmm.
more or less been doing this for a year. Um, we are a game and a half, probably like a game and 3/4,
Three quarters.
a game,
Yeah,
and what's 80%? 4/5.
sure.
Any mathematicians in the comments that can do fifth grade math
No,
for us?
not me. I'm the English major.
Something like that. Yeah, we are almost 2 games down over the course of 1 year. We're flying through this content a little bit faster than I thought we would.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, factions goes quick.
yeah, Factions really does go quick. It is half the size of Prophecies in terms of mission density.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of plot density as well. No, I'm joking.
Mm-hmm.
But I did this episode. We're going to talk about the plot of this game, kind of just directing itself at this point, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I felt rather undirected in this episode.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not undirected, but I don't think the I don't think the story is explained very well from point A to point
I
B here.
felt that. Yeah, I felt that in the final mission.
Yes, no,
Um.
absolutely. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm Aaron. If anybody didn't know that, this is Miko, and
Hello.
we're here to talk some Guild Wars again for the 25th time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Miko, where are we at in the Guild Wars factions campaign?
So last episode we ran the Sunjang district mission, which had us trying to go in and defeat Shiro's constructs, which were in the sewer. He was casting some sort of spell or other, trying to call in help from the mist, and
From the
we
sewer.
put yeah from the sewer by way of the sewer, and we put an end to that, and we got a cutscene that gave us some backstory into why he may have killed the emperor, which we saw in the CGI trailer. And that was because the fortune teller lady told him that the emperor was going to kill him, and he had to make a choice between himself or the emperor.
And he
So
like did a slash emote for headache in the
yes,
cutscene.
and then he didn't believe her, and he cut her down. Um, and then we found out from the envoys who showed up, um, right?
But
The
yeah,
envoys told
they're
us, yeah, they're the ones who told us that we have to go and unite the Kurziks and the Luxons because now that we've dealt this blow to Shiro, they need to reunite and they will give us the edge basically that we need to finally put an end to Shiro.
and then went and did everything except that.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, we had to go and get them to trust us. So
Okay.
Togo went off to the Luxons and he sent Mhenlo off to the Kurziks because they trust him. And Togo told us that we, the player character, had to make our own choice. So this is where Aaron and I split up. And Aaron went away with Togo and the Luxons, and I went away with Mhenlo and the Kurziks. And we spent all of last episode trying to gain their trust
And yeah,
by earning faction.
according to the Kurziks, Mhenlo can hang, Togo cannot hang.
What do you mean?
I just they think we still not know why the Kurziks think Mhenlo is just hot shit.
Apparently, I will tell you that I was waiting to be told, and I still don't know why.
Awesome. I love that. I actually, I kind of like it that way. I kind of like just Mhenlo being this very cool, edgy, mysterious guy who's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, they think I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
meanwhile, Togo's over here, like, stumbling over his words, talking to Elder Rhea.
Is she mic drop it on him a little bit more?
Like, not this episode, but I still can't get over how he's just supposed to be the wise sage. He's Master Togo. He's known throughout the land. Has no idea what the convocation is.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This probably like prominent thing in Luxon culture. That's probably one of like the 5 things that's well known about them, right?
Right.
Like if you live in
Eh,
Tyria and somebody asks you about the Luxons, you're gonna be like Jade Sea, turtles, convocation.
right. But apparently, Togo doesn't know that. He's just like, oh yeah, they're having this festival thing
Yeah, and he's just like that.
ceremony.
That should work.
That should work. Let's go and talk them into giving us their spear.
Fortunately for Togo, we're really good at fighting, so that
Yeah.
worked out for us. But
Mm-hmm.
not much of a game plan going in. Now, this episode, or last episode rather, I mentioned that the the Luxon area seemed rather devoid of quests in comparison
Yep.
to the 14 quests that you had in the Kurzik area.
And the ones that I abandoned. Yes.
Yes, and the ones you abandoned. And I came to realize this episode that the developers seem to have front loaded all the Kurzik quests into House Suhelzer and like surrounding areas pre mission. The Luxon quests are split kind of half and half before and after the mission. So I do this mission that we're about to talk about, and then I get plopped into an outpost with where every populating NPC has an exclamation mark over their head. I signed up like we didn't have a lot of time to play, me or Miko, so we're like on Sunday like scrambling to get this play session done, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I know how to do these 2 missions. One of them takes like 5 minutes, right? This should be easy breezy. And
Right.
this kind of threw a wrench in my whole day. So that's what I spent yesterday doing.
Side quests.
Side quests. So now the now the episode is a day late because I had no idea that there would be some interesting quests for me to do, and a few of them were interesting. One of them was stupid. So we'll hear about those in a little bit.
Okay.
Miko, you had to be directed. So you finished the befriending the Kurziks. I finished befriending the Luxons. Then you probably talked to Count Zuhelzer.
Yes.
What did he have you go do?
He had me go and defend the forest.
That's a broad
That's the
broad
that's
descriptor.
that's the title of the quest that he gave me, the Defenders of the Forest.
Okay.
And basically that is in reference to the Juggernauts, who are former humans, or they've given up their humanity to become defenders of the forest, like tree people.
They're literally druids.
Yeah, they're big dudes.
Like
And so yeah,
I just
so
feel
he,
I just feel like how that's described. They just did druids again,
yeah, and gave him a new name, and they can walk on. They're bipedal.
and they're like physical. They're not spirit dudes.
Right. Yes.
I'll add that. I'll pull up my questions for ArenaNet interview document here,
Okay.
and I will add that to our list of ArenaNet interview questions. Juggernauts, druids, are they the same? Question mark. All right, continue.
Okay. So in this quest, I had to go and find 3 volunteers who have been recruited, voluntold, to be to leave aside their humanity and become juggernauts. We've got Klaus, Lieber, and ex-redemptor Berta.
And all of those would later go on to fight Bruce
They
Willis in a skyscraper in 1986.
Yes. So, so, yeah. So I had to go out to Drazach Thicket to find them all, and then escort them to the Eternal Grove. And
Notorious mission.
yes, the Eternal Grove is the notorious mission, and the quest to go and find the volunteers it's not so bad. You just have to go out and, fight a ton of wardens and mantises. Some Gaki as well show up.
What are your thoughts on the Gaki? You didn't get a good look at the one last episode that you fought.
Yeah, they're fine.
Visually, how do you feel about the Gaki?
I mean, not very memorable for me. I kind of,
Didn't
I
get a
don't
good
get
look?
up and no, because I don't get up and close and personal like the melee characters that you've been playing do. So from far away, I'm just like, oh yeah, Gaki. He looks big and kind of like he's got smoky wisp stuff coming off of him. I'm just gonna spam my spirits and let my people do their things.
Yeah, they're weird bloated goat men. We talked about it a little bit.
Goatmen, yeah,
Yeah, they're kind of like a demonic Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah.
Gaki, very interesting visual
They're,
design. I'm struggling today.
it's okay. Yeah. So the volunteers themselves have some interesting stories. The first one, Klaus, or Claus.
I think it's Klaus.
Yeah. So
German.
he said that he for years cowered behind his father's shadow, scared of everything, scared of essentially life. But the one thing that he's certain of is that he's supposed to serve his country this way, by becoming a juggernaut, and then maybe he'll have some purpose. So he's like, okay, you're here to escort me. I'm ready. I'm nervous, but I know I'm making the right decision. And you're like, cool, come along.
Now,
And
was
then
this a decision, or did Count Zuhelzer just say this is how it was going to be, so he's making the best of it?
I don't know how they got chosen, but apparently they knew. They all knew that they had been chosen.
Okay, maybe they really volunteered for Juggernaut service then.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah,
worse
well,
fates, right?
I mean, and Count Zuhelzer does call them volunteers, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so, but like, what was that process like? We don't see any of that.
You're giving up your entire humanity to become a plant man. It's a little bit of a raw deal, but on the other hand, you get to hit people for like 80 damage at a time, so that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
right? There are
Yeah,
pros and cons.
Yeah, but what he does say is that they've each proven themselves effective at defending the forest from the Luxons. So because of that, or actually no, I'm sorry, the Luxons have proven themselves effective at overpowering the Juggernauts. So they need kind of like better Juggernauts.
Right, right. Like when your juggernauts are being overpowered, more juggernauts is the obvious answer. We're in an arms race, the Luxons and the
Yeah.
Kurzix.
But
Siege turtles versus juggernauts.
Right, and the thing is that the Kurzix have been struggling to kind of keep the Luxons at bay, and so what have they done? Their Redemptors have gone into council, to pray and consult the gods for weeks. That's what Count Zuhelzer tells us. They've been praying on the subject for weeks, and at last they say that the gods have spoken to them. We must develop new, more powerful juggernauts. And you're like, oh, okay.
What a revolutionary idea. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aren't the gods at this time, in circa Guild Wars 1, aren't the gods like gone and silent?
They're kind of silent, but they're.
I guess we talk to their avatars all the time, though.
We do, yeah. They're not as silent as they are in Guild Wars 2.
I'm thinking of Guild Wars 2, aren't I? Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is when they're like completely.
Yes, they've left the building.
Right. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll probably be out there talking to like an avatar of Dwayna or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And so the second, I think the ones that of the three volunteers, Klaus probably has the least interesting story. Okay, he's just trying to like live up to his father's expectations. Lieber is, when you go up to him, Lieber is with his wife, Anya. And you get first, when you approach them, you get a whole sideline view of this conversation between the two of them and how he's telling her, okay, they're here for me. I love you. And she's just like, no, you're really leaving. I'll always remember you. I love you too. And he's like, I don't want you to just not live your life, have a good life, and don't just be a widow. Basically, he's telling her to like go on with her life.
So
And she's like, don't.
they don't even keep this process to like the single and unattached. They take like family people
Yeah,
and do
yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. So he says, it's time, and I'm doing my duty. And so they have this whole exchange, and she tells him several times that she loves him and that she'll always remember him. And he tells her several times, don't put your life on hold. So that's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, well,
When
because
you
that makes sense what he's because he's not coming back, right?
no,
You can't unjuggernaut.
no,
Um,
no,
like they're called juggernauts. Juggernauts do not stop. They simply juggernaut.
no. Yeah, and so when their conversation has concluded, if you interact with Anya, she tells you, "Forgive me, I'm not much in the mood to talk right now." So
That
poor
adds a lot
Anya.
of gravitas
It
to the
does.
scenario. That's pretty good
Yeah.
stuff.
And then the final volunteer is ex-redemptor Berta, whose name tells you that she is an ex-redemptor. And she does not tell you why she's an ex-redemptor. She just tells you that she sinned and brought shame to her people and the gods. I
So
failed my people and shamed my gods. So by allowing herself to be transformed into a juggernaut, she's hoping that the gods will grant her mercy and forgiveness.
what do you think she did?
I don't know. I was really curious. I was hoping that we'd find out, but we do not.
Do you think she drew like devil horns and a goatee on the picture of Dwayna or something?
I don't know. I
I'm
don't know,
I'm mad
but
curious now.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but I mean, for her to give up the redemptor life, I mean, who knows? Maybe she doubted and got called out for her doubts,
Maybe
since
she
that seems to be kind of like a theme with like cleric people
maybe she made a
in
drunken
stories.
slight to Melandru
I don't know.
or
Yeah,
something of the
maybe.
like. And this is her penance.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's hoping that she's going to find some redemption and wipe away her past sins.
Interesting that the
So
ex Redemptor is seeking redemption.
yeah, yeah. So Berta is the one who's closest to the Eternal Grove. So after you pick her up, it's literally just a stroll to go and talk to the NPC who curiously did not trigger right away that I had completed and did have the 3 with me. But eventually he did and let me in after the whole, are you really sure you want to move on? No,
It
really, are you ready?
it's amazing. I always think it's the last one, and then there's one more prompt to
Mm-hmm.
get inside.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very thorough.
yeah.
They want to know that you
And
want to go there.
I guess so, yeah. So as soon as you tell him let's go, um, no, really, I'm sure, the cutscene triggers and suddenly Mhenlo is with you. He's not been around, but he's apparently, hovering or hitting up on Danica. Who knows? But he's there with you in the grove, and Baron Vasberg is the one that you have to convince to fight with you against Shiro. But he's not ready for that yet. He thinks that Shiro being a threat is a lie. He doesn't believe you. He says, no, the afflicted are gone. We have nothing to worry about from him. The Luxons are the ones we need to worry about. And all of a sudden, a soldier runs in and is like, Baron Vasberg, Baron Vasberg. The British are coming. No, sorry, the Luxons are here. The Luxons are here. And yes, so we have to go and rush off to defend the trees.
The
Or the
Luxon's
tree
main
singers.
color is red as well.
Yeah. So,
And they do arrive. Well, no, they don't arrive on boats. They can't sail anymore.
no. They arrive on turtles.
They do, which
Right.
is way better, honestly.
Yeah. So we have to go and defend the tree singers and the trees from the Luxons. And the Luxons, and that's basically where we go into the next mission is called the Eternal Grove, and that's where we have to go defend the grove.
Yeah, it's a very well-known mission for how difficult it is. The main
Mhm.
reason being you're kind of expected to split your party,
Yeah.
right? And you can't do that if you just have henchmen. You can do it with heroes. You can't do it with
Hmm.
henchmen.
Yep.
Um, I'll tell you about the primary quest I had to do. Um,
Hmm.
so I turned in the befriending the Luxons quest to Elder Rhea, and then I immediately took the stolen eggs primary quest from her.
Okay.
So Luxons, we kind of touched on it, but they have these giant turtles that are like
Yes.
they're like central to their entire deal, right?
Hmm.
The giant turtles are like sacred to them. I believe they are bred from like turtles who used to like be in the ocean, and now the sea is obviously turned to solid green jade. So the turtles walk about up top now, and the Luxons ride them, and they strap cannons to their back and turn them into war machines, which is very cool. I quite like me a siege turtle, a Luxon siege turtle.
Hmm.
It's a mini pet too. You can get a mini one. They look nice.
Yeah.
And so Elder Rhea lets me know that a box of these turtle eggs got stolen, right? By you guessed it,
The Kurzix.
bandits working for the Kurziks.
Oh.
So I don't know why it couldn't have just been the Kurziks, because I show up to like get these eggs back, and there's like 5 bandits and a Kurzik guy. I don't know, but they decided it's bandits that have been hired by the Kurziks to steal these eggs. Turtle's
Okay.
very sacred. Got to go get the eggs
Yeah.
back.
Right.
So I roll up on these bandits, and there's maybe 4 of these guys, and a guy named Sergeant Roderick, who is the Kurzik that's employed these men.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm there. I am a party of 8 adventurers that have won the convocation. We've defeated Shiro's spirit shields. We've braved the horrific canals of Tanakai Temple. These guys don't have a chance in hell. I slaughter them.
Right.
They're just they don't understand what's happening. They're dead before they even realize what's going on. Very very easily taken care of, and I gotta now run this chest the length of the Maisheng Hills explorable area to get it to Guyala Hatchery. So I do that, and I keep dropping the chest to fight and then picking it back up because I'm a melee fighter, so I have to do that. That's not a fun mechanic to engage with, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Hmm.
When I get to Guyala Hatchery, which is the name of the mission outpost, I, I think it's. I didn't read the outpost description, but given the name, I imagine that's where they do like they rear the little turtles, right?
Yes.
The guy at the gate thanks us for bringing the chest, and then he's like, "Hey, Argo is waiting for you inside." Argo is the champion of the
Champion. Yeah.
convocation that we defeated.
The one that we bested him.
Yeah, he's the champion of the Turtle Clan. The guy goes, "Argo's waiting for you inside." Meanwhile, I'm standing outside talking to this man. Argo is right next to me in my party. How
Right.
can
Did you
Argo be
take?
waiting for me inside? Argo is right here. Argo
Yeah.
has nothing to say,
Right.
because they did not think that out. But
Oh.
it's not a big deal. I go
Okay.
inside with Argo to meet Argo.
Right.
There a cutscene ensues. Argo. This quest's not nearly as interesting as the quest you did.
Oh.
Because yeah, I've already arrived at the outpost and we have a cutscene.
Sure. Yeah.
And the cutscene is weird
Huh.
because Argo gives the order for the caravan to move out, which is like what happens in the mission.
Okay.
And like the mission starts in the cutscene,
Huh.
but then I'm transported to the mission outpost and the mission hasn't started yet.
Yeah. That's a little weird.
It's very just kind of disconnected.
Yeah,
I
that
think
breaks immersion.
yeah, I feel like that cutscene was supposed to play at the beginning of the mission and not
Mm,
at the end of the quest, if that makes sense.
yeah, that does make sense. Yes.
Yeah, but we see the little babby turtles patrolling along, and they're heading out with a convoy of big turtles and Luxon soldiers.
Hmm.
So Argo is not available to me as a henchman for this mission because he's like the caravan leader.
Right.
So he's a mission NPC.
Okay.
So this mission, Guyala Hatchery, this is not a hard mission. It is a long mission,
Hmm.
especially if you because the caravan goes really slow, right?
Yes, I remember that.
They're literally turtles. Like
They really are, and
a
they move very, very
ArenaNet
tiny,
took the
very
designation
slowly.
as turtles very seriously. They are slow. So how did Eternal Grove go for you? Because I did not have a super eventful Guyala Hatchery.
So Eternal Grove, because I had to have a split party, um, and because I'm running henchmen, I had to enlist the help of some friends. So I called on two of my guildies. They re-downloaded the game because they don't have it installed, or they didn't have it installed. And we teamed up, and it was like old times, except that they were trying to remember how to make their characters go again
It's okay.
and
Just
what their
slap a build
rotation
on your
was.
heroes and call it a day.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they have all of these builds that are still saved on their accounts, so they have builds, and they're pretty good builds. So yeah, so between the three of us, we were able to kind of guard each of the entrances to the Eternal Grove. So much so that I forgot to have the Juggernauts follow me because that is a mechanic. You can actually make them either follow you to fight or to just defend, stand around the tree singers and defend. And I just left them defending
That actually makes
until
sense.
yeah. Well, the thing is that so we actually ran the mission twice because in the second phase, so there's two phases to this mission. You've got the being attacked by the Luxons, and they come in with siege turtles. And so basically, the priorities are: if you see Luxon warriors, kill them. Rangers, you don't have to worry about. You can just leave them to pew pew from the hills. They're not much of a threat, but you need to take out the siege turtles because even though they lumber slowly, they have artillery, I guess, and can bombard the tree singers and kill them.
It's
Um,
interesting that the Luxon warriors are the dangerous ones and the rangers are not, because it's the opposite with the Kurziks. The Kurzik rangers do quite a lot of damage, and
huh.
they'll like focus down your back line,
Mm,
whereas the warriors are kind of nothing to worry about.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guys from the forest, good rangers. The guys who
Yeah.
have a history of being pirates, good warriors. Uh,
Yeah.
kind of checks out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we phase one where you have to defend the tree singers and make sure that you've got a good number survive. That went fine. And then phase two where the afflicted show up. I got two cutscenes in this mission. After phase one, the Luxons come in. The Luxon general comes in waving a white flag, and basically wants to call a truce because why? Because the afflicted are coming. And he tells Baron Vesberg, he who doubted that the afflicted were even a threat anymore, there's no way that we're going to survive this unless we team up. This is what the Luxon general tells Baron Vesberg. So Baron Vesberg kind of has this dramatic pause and he's like, okay, fine. Finally decides to team up with them and then tells his people, if anyone has a problem with this, we're counting them as our allies. If anyone has a problem with this, speak now or forever hold your peace. And I was like, okay. So that triggers phase two of the fight where you have to basically defend the grove and the tree singers and the trees from the afflicted. And the afflicted have monks and elementalists, which, as we learned while running through the city, They do a lot of damage and can spike you down. So you don't want to get overwhelmed by letting the afflicted in.
And they're
So
ritualist res.
yes.
Have you
So
seen
you can
the back of the afflicted ritualist model? They got a little butt.
does it?
Yeah, they got a little afflicted butt.
That's funny.
It's very cursed.
Yeah. So yeah, so the goal for phase 2 is really to defend, not to have an offense, and one of my guildies forgot that, and she charged out and promptly died along with her heroes, one of which was Dunkoro. So we were like, oh crap.
Donkoro was a
And
death magnet, if I
I
remember
know,
correctly.
yes. And so, then one of us went over to try and kind of guard her gate and then the other gate. And so it all ended badly. And so we restarted the mission. And then in the second attempt, it all went much better.
I wonder if she fell victim, because like I read the wiki pretty detailedly on my mission, because I actually used something of an exploit to do it a certain way. But in the Gaela Hatchery mission, and I think in the Eternal Grove mission as well, the enemy staggering, like the waves, is done in a way to almost trick you into like running out and then getting swarmed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I
And that,
definitely saw instances in my mission where I was supposed to run somewhere to fight one group and then immediately get pincered by two more groups.
yeah. Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened to her. And then it just became a domino effect. So, but, the second time around, it went better. And one of us remembered, hey, we can bring the juggernauts in. Let's have them follow us while the afflicted are coming in. And that actually helped as well. Because somebody died. I can't remember who. But, yeah, then they got rezzed and everything was fine. And so by the end of it, I got the master's reward on it.
Oh, okay. So you got
Yeah.
how many tree singers are there total?
12, and we did not lose a single one
That's nice handiwork.
in the successful one. Yeah, it was pretty good. So that was good. And at the end of phase 2, we get a second cutscene, and it starts out really just quite dark. You see a pyre of corpses just hang, as they do. There are lots of dead people around.
Are they burning
And
like the bodies of like the
they're
human
burning
dead,
the
or are they
body.
burning the
Yeah,
afflicted?
I think it was both.
Well, because
And
yeah, if you
so
get killed by the afflicted, you might rise an afflicted. So
exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, after that, your character is like, so do you finally believe us that the afflicted are a threat? And he's like, well, I mean, judging by the evidence at my feet, yes. So, um, he agrees to fight with you against Shiro, and your character's like, even if that means teaming up with the Luxons. And he has this dramatic pause, and he's like, yes, even that. For until we defeat Shiro, the Luxons are now our allies.
Now, you said that Baron Vasberg is with you in this mission, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is he the one doing all the talking for the Kurziks,
Yes.
like the one agreeing to ally and
Yep.
stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at least in your mission, the person making all of these wide-sweeping agreements to end a 200-year-long, well, even more than that, honestly, blood feud, is like a person of authority. In mine, this person's name is Luxon Soldier,
That just sucks.
who makes all these like grand sweeping gestures of like, yes, our people will ally with the Kurziks and work with you. It's just a guy.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
was
and at least in the from the Luxon side, we have Luxon General who's like out there leading the charge and telling Baron Vasberg. So it's kind of like an equivalent sort of in rank.
the Luxons. I guess the Luxons don't
Militarily.
really have anyone in charge.
I guess no. They've got Argo, and he was with you. So
That's what I'm saying. That's what annoyed me
yeah,
about my mission is I had Argo. Argo is like a pivotal character in the mission. He's a voiced character. They voiced him in the previous
yeah,
cutscene, but they
yeah.
couldn't be bothered to have Argo be the one speaking on behalf of the Luxons in the end cutscene.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, I think I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what happened there. You'd
Yeah.
think that would have been the plan, but
Yeah, so at the end of the mission, Menlo's like, or at the end of that second cutscene, Menlo's like, "All right, cool, our work here is done." Literally, that's what he says. And he's like, "Okay, we've got to go and report into Master Togo." And the general, the Luxon general, is like, "Hey, if you're looking for Togo, he's down at the Harvest Temple." And Menlo's like, "To the temple," and there we go.
And
So
this
that's how the
this
cutscene
is
ends.
and this is where the narrative disconnect begins.
Yeah.
Because Mhenlo is told that Togo has gone to the Harvest Temple. He's not
Uh-huh.
told why, he's just told that Togo is going there.
Yeah.
Togo has been told that Mhenlo is going to the Harvest Temple
Oh man.
and that he needs to go there, and he doesn't know why. Neither of us are told why the hell we're going to the Harvest Temple.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's just a little weird.
It's like when you're a kid and you and your friend tell your parents you're staying over at the other's place and you go
Yeah.
to a concert, and then your
Right.
parents start talking to each other and
Yeah,
realize
and they
what's
find
happening.
out, and you're like, "Oh crap,
Yeah,
we're in trouble. We're now grounded for 3 weeks."
yeah, exactly. Real kind of plot hole there. Whereas
Yeah.
there's no discernible reason for us to go to the Harvest Temple. The game just kind of says, well, that's where you're going.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
in the so you got the Master's Reward in your
Mm-hmm.
mission. You did it perfectly, flawless victory. I did not.
I'm sorry.
So
But I thought Gala Hatchery wasn't that big of a deal.
yeah, it's not hard. There is one aspect of the mission that is hard. So it is a giant escort mission. You
Yes.
have to protect the wee baby siege turtles.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 of them, and you have to get them from point A to point B. The route is pretty long. They move real slow.
Mm-hmm.
And there are hordes of Kurziks you have to defend against along the way. And if you do it what's called, quote, the front way, it's called this on the wiki,
Yeah.
which is you playing the mission as intended, right? You travel with the
Yeah.
turtles and you defend them from waves of Kurziks. It is bordering on impossible for you to avoid losing a turtle.
Right.
So what's called the back way on the
Mm-hmm.
wiki. I've done this before, so I kind of already
Yeah.
knew how to do this, but I really did not want to do this mission again because I know it's really long. So I
Yeah.
did some studying.
Okay.
So I start the mission and I immediately take a hard right and leave leave the caravan. Um, and my so we're Argo's like, Turtle Clan, move out, and I just leave, right?
Mm.
I disappear, and I head down along the side of the mission, and then I enter what's known on the wiki as point number 1,
Mm-hmm.
and I kill all the Kurziks there, and then
Right.
I move to point number 2, and I kill all the Kurziks there. And I do the
Yeah.
same thing for points 3, 4, and 5.
This is basically what I did in that one prophecies mission, where I went ahead and cleared all of the like little fort areas
Yeah, yeah.
of the bad guys,
Yeah, what was
whose
that?
names I've
Delesio
already.
Seaboard?
It, it may have been Delesio Seaboard, where you go ahead and you clear out the White Mantle, and then you come back and then you do the
Riverside Province,
escort.
that's the one.
That's the one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I pulled a Riverside Province here.
There you go. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
because
it counts for success.
it
So,
does. Yeah, it makes you have a much easier time in the mission. I just cleaned out every Kurzik, and that probably took a good 20 minutes to do, because
mm-hmm.
there are conservatively over 100 Kurzik enemies to kill in this mission.
Yeah.
Just very large and very weirdly populated mobs as well. Like one group was just like 8 warriors, and then another group was like 8 rangers. Just weird.
Yeah.
The monks have word of healing, so high priority, right? That sort
Right.
of stuff going on. I basically do a big like figure 8. I do the bottom of the 8 and loop back around and come up, and then I run back to where the turtles are.
Right.
And then we can actually start the mission. And the hard part now is you cannot avoid the initial fight engagement. So once the mission actually starts and the caravan starts moving, you will get pincered by a bunch of Kurziks. There's no way to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
And the wiki's like, hey, drop the smoke canister on the turtles so that the siege
Right.
turtles fire.
You stealth them basically.
No, it's like a marker. It's like an artillery marker. So the
Oh,
siege
okay,
turtles
okay.
fire their cannons on them, so anyone who gets near gets blasted into oblivion.
Right.
Doesn't matter, still lost a turtle.
Oh no.
Yeah, so turtles went down to 4 out of 5, and then we start a very long procession down with just nothing because I've
Mm-hmm.
eliminated everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the caravan still, it's programmed to stop at certain
Right.
points for combat.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not programmed to stop on enemy engagement. It's just there are points where they stop.
Right.
And,
Yeah, it's coded in. Their AI is like, must stop here.
and Argo's voice lines for combat just run. He's like,
Of course.
Kurzik spotted. Their numbers are high. Stand firm. Like he's just shouting these
Yeah.
things while nothing is
Yeah.
happening. It's excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we make it to the bottom of the map, and uh, then the Kurziks attack some more, and we beat them, and then there's a kind of a gnarly cutscene as well, but it's too funny because of the limitations of the engine. So we
Right.
have the Kurzik survivors on their knees with their hands behind their head,
Oh
but
no.
the devs have no way of removing their weapons from their hands. So their
Yes.
hands are behind their heads with like sword and shield in hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very,
Yeah. Yeah.
very, very awkwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And the Luxons are like, let's skin them alive and eat them. Like, just like
Right.
horrific torture planned for these Kurziks.
Right.
And then the Afflicted start attacking,
Mm-hmm.
and someone, it's, I don't think it's Argo, I believe it's just Luxon Soldier is like, we're gonna have to work together, and Kurzik General is like, oh, fine, right.
Right.
And so we work together with the Kurziks to beat back the Afflicted, and then I get to play the game again, and I kill some more Afflicted, and I don't know what the hell kind of programming went wrong in this one young Siege Turtles AI.
Oh no.
But one of the siege turtles, there's 4 left. 3 of them are chilling. One of them is like, I am going to take on the Afflicted myself.
You're like,
And
no,
this,
baby turtle, come back.
well, and they're not supposed to do this, so I don't notice this happening until it's much too late. So this turtle is already like within aggro distance of the next Afflicted mob before I see him.
Oh no.
And yeah, he gets obliterated by,
Of course.
yeah, by Afflicted. So now I'm down to 3 turtles. And I finished the mission that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was from memory. I didn't even really read my notes there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is a podium guy for that mission. He basically just tells me that the Luxons believe Shiro to be defeated. Same thing that the Kurziks told you, right? They don't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I replaced Argo with Zoe because she has good like damage dealing skills. She's a ranger.
Yeah.
There are 2 other ranger henchman options, Aurora and Damon, and they're both bad, so I didn't take them. Aurora is, I think Aurora has the most interesting henchman build I've seen so far. It's an entirely Beastmaster build.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, full Beastmastery, but I was too cowardly to roll the dice on that. Damon just doesn't have any skills that do any damage. He's labeled Interrupt Henchman, and no shit, he has like 6 interrupt skills on his bar. One of which is Broadhead Arrow, which costs 15 energy, and I'm like, he's not going to have any energy to use any of these skills.
Yeah, seriously.
So, and sure enough, I scroll down on the wiki, and it lists his pros as has interrupts, and his cons as no energy management. And I was like, great, me and the wiki are on the same page.
On the same page.
No Damon. Yeah, I basically did that back way exploit just to make sure I didn't fail, because I just didn't want to redo the mission. So that's kind of what happened with Guyala Hatchery. Not nearly as intense as Eternal Grove. Eternal Grove is a very well designed mission. There's no way around engaging with the mechanics as intended. Whereas in this one, if you just turn right, you basically trivialize the whole thing. Unless you're me, in which case you still manage to sacrifice 2 turtles.
Well,
yeah.
one of them was, I'll say that one of them really wasn't your fault.
Yeah, no, I did. I'll try to get
He's
it.
basically like just kamikaze himself.
I'll try to find it in footage and put it up while I'm talking about it there, so that people can watch this happen. I've done this mission several times. It is the most out of pocket shit I've ever seen an NPC do. So yeah, I was unhappy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the same conversation with Togo that you had with Mhenlo, where they're like, Menlo's going to the Harvest Temple.
To the temple.
Yeah, to the temple, basically. And I'm like, okay. And they do mention that Baron Vasberg is with Mhenlo as well. Baron Vasberg, more of a character in this than Argo.
Yeah,
honestly.
he's actually also got some good voice acting.
Yeah, and
So,
I actually noticed that the voice acting was relatively inoffensive here as well. Pretty fine, pretty okay.
yeah.
Nothing to really worry about.
Yeah. So after the mission, did you spawn? Was that the outpost that you spawned in that had all of the quests?
Yeah, so how many quests are available in the outpost that you spawn at after this mission?
So I spawned into the Vesperg Armory, and I don't know that I saw any quest. Well, I take that back. I saw one, and I did pick it up.
Okay.
There's literally one quest and the primary quest. So there's two.
Gotcha. Okay. That
Yeah.
seems pretty reasonable, right?
Considering all the other ones that I had at House to Helzer, yes.
Yeah, so I spawn into an outpost called Leviathan Pits, which is a cool name for an outpost.
It is. It is.
It apparently, like, looking around the outpost, it's not very big, right? But it looks like it's where they like chisel sea creatures out of the jade to like sell
Yes.
to wealthy Canthons for decorations.
Right.
There's like some tuna fish or maybe dolphins, I guess,
Right.
in a jade block. It looks pretty cool. There are like 5 or 6 NPCs here, and they all have exclamation marks over their heads.
Oh man.
And I'm like, oh dear.
Here's where you've been hiding.
Yeah, so because last episode I didn't have too many quests to do. Now I'm inundated. Now you said that you abandoned a couple quests last play session, right?
Yeah, because I was brain fried.
I did as well. I was going. Here's the fun part: is I was going to do these quests, and I abandoned them for in-character roleplay reasons. So
Okay.
here they are. The first quest is actually what I think is probably a very good quest, like a very fun, well-written quest. But I took moral objection to it. This
Okay.
quest is called the Xenos Squad. Have you ever heard of this quest?
It vaguely sounds familiar, yes.
So this is from a guy named Delphinus in Leviathan Pits. The Luxons seem to have like Greek names. Like one of the other guys I talked to is, what's this dude's name? It's the luck one. Infortunatus Maxelles. So like Latin type of names for the Luxons. But I'm talking to Delphinus in Leviathan Pits, and he explains that Xenos is the most famed Luxon adventurer, like, of all time. He's just he's a swell guy. And he says Xenos's most recent expedition, his like companion, he says companion, I'm thinking pet, but his companion, quote unquote, named Bestanon, was eaten by a mysterious monster.
Oh.
Yeah, so this Xenos guy, who's an amazing, accomplished adventurer, wants revenge, and the Xenos squad is joining him. These guys are like a pack of adventurers that follow this guy around, apparently.
Right.
And apparently I'm invited as well. Apparently
Of course.
there's room for one more. Side note, there is a collector I met on this mission named Kyoto, and he, like, when he was a sailor, he got bitten real bad by a salt spray dragon, and so
Okay.
he just wants me to bring him Azure Cress for killing salt spray dragons as vengeance.
Okay.
Poor guy. He said he whacked it unconscious with an oar, and I was like, dude, if you knocked a dragon unconscious with an oar, I think you should be doing the next mission.
I mean, yeah.
Spoiler alert, guys, there's
yeah.
a dragon in the next mission.
Yeah.
So I go find Xenos, go to the quest marker, Xenos is literally level 10.
Oh,
Yeah, so immediately, and
so he really needs help.
yeah, so immediately I'm suspicious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think a level 10 adventure is really carving a path through the Jade Sea that's full of minimum level 24 monsters,
Yeah,
right?
no. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, during this quest, I entered an area called the Silent Surf, um,
Okay.
which really dials the end game nature of like the mobs up to 11, not in level so much as every single mob on the map is patrolling. So
Of
you,
course.
yeah, you cannot engage one group on this map. Someone's gonna show up. So that was really fun to deal with.
Oh dear.
I ran into some guys called Leviathan Claws, Leviathan Eyes, and Leviathan Mouths in this zone. The Leviathan
And
Claws are just like giant lobsters.
okay.
The Leviathan eyes are really funny looking. They're like an eye of Sauron that like walks on
Uh-huh.
stilts. It's great. And the Leviathan mouths just look like, I don't know. You know those like bugs you find at the beach, and you're like, I don't know what that is.
Yes.
That's what a Leviathan mouth looks like.
Spindly things, yes.
Yeah. So I'm dealing with all that, and Xenos is just standing on this island. And he gives me this whole spiel. He's like, I'm a great adventurer. I've written a bunch
Mm.
of books about traveling Tyria. Everybody loves my books. And immediately I'm getting a Gilderoy Lockhart vibe from this
I
guy.
was gonna say that, yes. I was like, oh, here we go.
I was like, this man has like 12 books and they all have alliterative titles,
And
right?
they all have alliterative titles and pictures of his sparkly smile on the covers.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And all of the housewives want to date him.
I imagine so. Yeah, I imagine this guy's very popular with in the romance community. But he's a hack, basically,
Right.
is the vibe you get from him. He's a complete
Yeah.
swindler. He basically asked me. Here's what he asked me to do. He says that all he wants is revenge for this Bestanon companion of his dying, and he wants to organize an expedition to go find and kill whatever ate his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes a point of saying that he saw it happen, but he's the only one alive who saw it happen.
Of
So
course.
so
Very,
immediately,
that is very Gilderoy Lockhart.
yeah, and immediately I'm like, oh, okay, dude, like you almost certainly left your friend to die so that you could
Yeah.
escape
Pretty
whatever
much.
this was, right?
After poop in your pants. Yes.
And then he asked me to go secure funding for this expedition. And he says, first he says, get the money however you need. I'm good for it. Wait, tell them I'm good for it.
No.
Meaning he's not good for it, right?
No, of course not.
And here's where Aaron abandons this quest.
Oh
Because
no.
Aaron would not do this. This guy sucks. Aaron would not be caught dead working with this guy. I'm a
You have a
reputable
moral.
contract killer, okay?
Right. Right.
I don't work with Gilderoy
For
Lockhart.
hacks.
Okay. So yeah, I abandoned this quest here. I'm sure it's a really funny quest because it's already a very funny quest. It's really
Yeah.
well written. It's pretty fun, but I was kind of short on time, and so I roleplayed by abandoning the quest.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other
Yeah,
quest.
no,
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I'm just like just scanning. I'm not even like reading it very closely, but scanning the dialogue on the wiki is very amusing.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
it's
to go
great.
play this quest.
It's a super well written quest. It's one of the better. I mean, we've found a lot of the best writing in these games is in the side quests and in the side
Yeah.
content. And this really exemplifies that because it's what I played of it was very well done. There's another quest called the Dragon Hunter. This is from Turamachus in Leviathan Pits. They're all in freaking Leviathan Pits. He says this is another like Xenos type, right? He's like, I'm famed as the Dragon Hunter. Like that's what he's like. People call me the Dragon Hunter throughout the Jade
Right.
Sea. He's like, most people fear dragons. I like them. So we've got Gilderoy Lockhart, and then we've got Hagrid, right? So I'm just out here around the Hogwarts grounds doing quests for these guys.
Right.
And he says dragons make excellent parents. which is a bizarre bit of trivia about Jade Sea dragons, apparently.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And he wants me to go and distract some salt spray dragons so he can steal their eggs.
That is Hagrid. Like you're working for Hagrid here.
I almost worked for Hagrid, but then I thought this is also a piece of shit thing to do. I don't want to distract mother dragons while you steal their eggs, and I don't even know what he's going to do with them. Right? He doesn't say what he's going to do with them. He just wants them.
Right.
So I have in my notes quest abandoned because this seems like an asshole thing to do.
I mean, fair.
So that was the kind of roleplay exploits of abandoning my quests,
Yes.
and shortening my play session. What was the quest that you did after the mission?
It was called Wicked Wardens.
Was it a book by Xenos by chance?
No, it is. It all really the guy in Vesper Army, Dunmel Gorhopf, which is a great name. He wants you to go and kill the wardens because they've become evil and are attacking the forest and the trees, and ever since the Jade Wind, and now they're getting worse. And so he wants you to thin out their numbers.
Is this just a go kill wardens quest?
It's just a go kill wardens quest. It's not interesting. You have to kill 40 of them, and I was like, cool, I can do this while I'm doing the primary quest, and that's exactly what I did.
Wow, so you just got a round number, just 40, bang them out.
40, bang them out, kill them. I was like, okay.
I did the Luxon equivalent of that quest. It's called Outcasts in the Quarry. Outcasts are guys who delve too greedily and too deep, and now they're crazy. They describe them. I think we've talked about them a little bit.
Yeah, you talked about the Outcasts last time.
Yeah,
they have like Luxon models, or
yeah, they're basically
questionable Kurziks. Yeah, I don't know.
They're people who, so in the Luxon culture, reavers, they sound really badass, but a reaver is just a guy who mines jade. And they basically delve too greedily and too deep, and they got too close to the Balrog, and now
I was going to say they're the dwarves. Yeah, of Minas Tirith, or not Minas Tirith. Yeah, Minas Tirith.
Minas Tirith is the White City.
White City, that's
Moria.
right. No, where? Moria.
Good
God, yeah. You know what? I need to go and watch my Lord of the Rings. That's the next thing I'm going to be doing on vacation.
That's a good thing to do on vacation.
I mean, they're, yeah.
You got to take one of those. Yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, they're basically crazy because there's like a demonic presence deep in the Jade Sea, just like there's a demonic presence deep in the Ekavald Forest. If you want to read about that, it's on the wiki. I don't have the time to get into it right now. It's content that we're not going to be doing on the show because it's really hard. Yeah, they basically want me to go kill a bunch of outcasts, and I spend way too much time doing this outcast killing quest.
How many did you have to kill?
So there's 5 groups, and you got to go group 1, group 2, group 3, and you got to go through an area called Rhea's Crater, which is a very convoluted zone. It's kind of Tangled Depths For those viewers who've played Guild Wars 2, Tangled Depths, very confusing zone. It's got that sort of thing going on. The majority of creatures I killed doing this quest are not outcasts. They're everything in between me and the outcast groups. There's weird Eidolon looking guys called Focus of Hanukkah way down here. This is really far away from where we killed Zu Hanukkah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're his buddies or his minion spawns,
or his like spirit that's like recoalescing itself into the next Zu Hanukkah for the next convocation.
That's true. Yeah, right.
Something like that. And my final bullet point in my notes on this quest is long and uninteresting. I did meet a guy I've met before on this quest. This guy's name is Rion, and he's the captain of the Halcyon, which I did that whole quest chain about. It's like a ship. So yeah, I went and killed some of those. Point regarding the Halcyon, actually, I just remembered this from the cutscene at the end of Guyala Hatchery. Those big ships that are called Leviathans that the Luxons have. So you don't just like pull them along with ropes. They have like legs that like move like a creature.
Are they actual legs?
Yeah, they show them moving at the end of the cutscene in Guyala Hatchery. One of these it's shaped like a crab and its legs move.
I want to know how they did that because I mean that's an evolution of ores, I would
Right,
think.
like it's flexible wood in a way that like they are kind of the
Pliable plywood, yeah.
I did mention that they look like they're made out of wicker. Maybe they really are made. They're just wicker fortresses. But yeah, I'll try
That,
to put that on screen right here
yeah,
so that
that's
people
interesting.
can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that was interesting. So yeah, a dude from the Halcyon is back to help me kill Reavers.
Well, yeah.
And I believe that was the only side quest you did, right?
Yeah, that was the only one that was available. Yeah, Vasberg Armory is sort of a thin for being the Vasberg clan or the House of Vasberg. They are the warriors in Kurzic culture. And the coolest thing about their outpost is the ginormous golden statue of Balthazar in the middle.
You showed me a screenshot of that. That is pretty cool,
It's
actually.
amazing. It's beautiful. And I was like, look at that, because it so contrasts the gray stone that is that the armory itself is made out of.
It looks all the brighter because of it.
Oh yeah, all the brighter because of it. Yeah,
Well,
it's gorgeous.
well,
And
and
I'm
you've
like, what
been
is that? Oh my gosh, it's Balthazar.
yeah, you've been buried in navy blue for like two
Yeah,
play sessions now. So like
yeah.
seeing a big gold Balthazar really makes your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did a couple more quests. Uh, I did one quest that is almost a non-quest, but it has a character that I ran into before, so it's interesting. Do you remember Jotaro Musagi?
Yes.
He's the guy from the Captured Sun quest
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in Xingje.
In Xingje, yeah.
Yeah, so he ran off to be a pirate, and his mom sent us after him, and he
Is he
was like,
back?
yeah, and he was like, I don't want to be a pirate, right? And so we sent him
Mm,
back to his mom.
right.
So he's hanging out in the Leviathan pits. He's standing next to Delphinius. And
Of all the people, yeah,
yeah,
to be hanging out with.
he's joined the Xenos squad.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Jotaro says, he says he used to be a pirate, which we know because we kind of pulled him out of that.
Right.
But his story, he doesn't seem to remember me. His story is that it got old because not enough adventure and too much gold counting.
Because he's been hanging out with Xenos,
Well,
Gilderoy Lockhart.
he said that his time with the pirates, so with the Crimson Skull, was not enough adventure, too much gold counting. So he's
Oh,
joined Team
right.
Xenos for more adventure and less gold counting.
Oh man.
um,
And more shystering. That's what that is.
yeah, I think Jotaro is not the brightest bulb in the bunch.
No.
He kind of flits from whim to whim. He's one of those people always starts a project, never finishes it, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Not unlike myself with all the RPG playthroughs I have going. But he has a letter that he wants to deliver to his mom, who is the one who gave us the Captured Sun quest. So I'm like, oh, I'll do
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
We don't even have to deliver the letter to his mom. We take it to Arani, who is aboard the Halcyon. Yeah, that's coming back again. And she's like, I'll take it to his mom. I was like, I could have done that.
I could have done that.
Like
I
I
know
know
his mom.
yeah, I know this guy's mom, right?
Yeah.
But I don't get to. So we literally just take the letter to Arani. The Halcyon is right outside Boreas seabed. It's like 2 steps away,
Uh-huh.
and the quest is complete. I went to talk to his mother because I was like, what if what if it's a quest chain, right? What if she has a
Yeah.
quest now?
Uh-huh.
She has nothing new to say.
Oh.
I
That's disappointing.
Yep, I went back to Jotaro. He has nothing new to say either. I bet there's supposed to be more here.
Yeah, that sounds like there could have been.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just a non-quest. It reeks of a quest that's supposed to start a chain.
Yeah.
But maybe if I had done the Xenos squad, there would have been something there. But I don't like Xenos, so I fuck that guy. I did I did a couple more. So I did a quest called "If It Weren't for Bad Luck." This quest is kind of fun. This is from a guy named Infortunatos Maxiles. I mentioned him earlier.
Right.
Maxiles, maybe. He
Yeah.
says he was a hero once. He lists his title as Luxon Deep Ranger of the Serpent Clan. So he was like
Ranger.
he was like an army ranger, right? Special forces.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
that
I was
type of
gonna
thing.
say, yeah. He's a badass.
Yeah, and one day he ordered his men to attack a drake because it had shiny scales and he wanted the shiny scale as a trophy. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, his men attacked the drake. They grabbed the scale. Did not kill the drake. Just got a scale. I
Uh-oh.
don't know how you get a scale off of a drake without killing it, but they pulled
That's
it
gonna
off.
piss off the Drake.
That is the crux of the quest. Yeah, because soon after, all his men get killed in a Kurzik ambush, and he's left alive just to tell the tale.
Yeah.
This resulted in, I think, just the shame, because shame is like a big thing in the Luxon culture. I think
Mm-hmm.
the shame of like that brutal defeat resulted in all of his trade agreements falling through, so he goes broke, right?
Ooh.
He mentioned that his
Yeah.
home was overrun by Naga, and that his wife, quote, left him for a stronger Luxon.
Uh,
Uh,
wow.
Yeah, so, and then he arrives at the conclusion that the drake that he ordered his men to attack must have been Albax, the legendary salt spray dragon of good fortune.
Oh, so that's why he's had all those bad luck.
Yes, because he stole a scale from the legendary salt spray dragon of good
So does
fortune.
he want to make amends?
He does, yeah. He gives me the scale to go give back to Albax because he's too cowardly to do it himself.
Right, yeah.
So I go out and I walk right up to Albax and I give him the thing, and Albax is super chill. He's like, "Thanks, bro. You can tell that guy that I've removed the curse from him." Albax
Oh.
is really nice. He's a friendly salt spray dragon.
Okay, well, there you go.
He also says that he's the only salt spray dragon left who has not been corrupted by the Jade Wind,
Oh.
which is interesting. I don't know if that's true, but he's the only one I've found. So yeah, Albax, chill guy. When I turn this quest back into Infortunatos Maxiles, he says that from now on we can just call him Fortunatos,
Right.
which is
He's changing his name
which
because his
is
luck is changing. That's great.
which is so corny that it's funny.
It is.
The last quest chain I did, this is two quests, and this is actually, so this is like a thing, and I think this is a reference to something, but I'm not well versed enough in like whatever mythology this is from to know. But it reeks of being from something.
Okay.
The first quest is called Message on a Dragon Scale. This is from Great Reaver Rixer in Seafarer's Rest. He's the guy that I killed all the outcasts for.
Okay.
He found a dragon scale with a message inscribed on it. Can't read the message, but he says that it must be more than 200 years old based on how deep down it was. So
Okay.
they found this like quarrying, right? Like digging up jade with jackhammers.
Yeah.
He says the closest land to the scale is an uncharted island, and he said he'd like us to go out there to see if we can figure out more about the message. This is a real thin connection right off the bat.
Uh-huh.
Now, of course, this is a whole quest, so this connection happens to be right on the money, but this is ridiculous. Hey, there's an island nearby. This island is also 2 feet away from the Guyala hatchery. I seriously doubt it's uncharted, but
Yeah, that'd be a little. Yeah.
little bit of like game dissonance with
Yeah.
the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
On my way there, I run into a collector named Pietro, and he's looking for black pearls to give to his wife because he needs to make amends because he's like they've had like a falling out. He doesn't say why they've had a falling out, and I'll just not think further about that. On the island in question, so I run up to this island. It's you have to start from the ass end of Guyala hatchery because you can only enter the mission explorable area from Leviathan pits. So yeah, it's a long way up there. There is a dude, and his name is, why have I just lost it? I like scrolled once and it's gone. A man named Sampty Colreg, which is the hell of a
That's a great name.
Sampty Colreg. Yeah, that is a fantastic name. And he says he was stranded on the island after a shipwreck before the Jade Wind. Now,
So he's been alive for a while.
he's been alive for a while, but he's just a human. How is he doing it, right? He says that a dragon had come to the island after he was shipwrecked, and it wouldn't carry him off the island, but it would give him immortality and 4 dragon scales to inscribe with messages to then throw into the ocean, and only when someone brought him back those messages could he leave the island.
Oh no.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And he's like very thankful to this dragon. He's like, what a glorious gift this dragon has given me, right? The gift of immortality. Everything he wrote down on these dragon messages, by the way, are memories that have been removed from his brain, like pensive style, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so I have to go find these dragon scales with messages on them and bring them back to him so he can like get his memories back and be able to leave the island. So that the first quest is just bringing him the first one, right?
Yeah.
He's also like kind of crazy. He's like,
Well, he's got no memories.
yeah, he's like Ben Gunn, right? He's babbling there on the island.
Yeah.
But I go find the scales. One is in Maisheng Hills, and it tells the story of his parents. His father was a tanner, his mother was a midwife and an herbalist. He's going to miss them terribly because he's signed up for immortality, right? So he knows that everyone he knows and loves is going to die.
It's dead. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's in removing these memories. He's essentially divested himself of the grief process.
Yeah.
So you had a quest where a man left his family for immortality, and I also had one where a man left his family for immortality.
Yeah.
Second bottle is the memory of his daughter Bridget, and the final one is of course his wife Sophia. And I bring all of these back to him. And he's so devastated by the reality of the situation that he decides he's not going to leave the island and he's going to stay.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of...
What's the point? He's got nothing left.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just a man on an island. So thank you for the XP and the skill point, but what a pointless quest. But kind of fun and interesting. I would be surprised if that wasn't like a reference to some sort of story. But yeah. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I got curious while you were talking and went to the wiki. And Sam T. Coleridge is probably a reference to Samuel Taylor Coleridge.
Okay, that makes sense because that name is so nonsensical, but I like it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the final kind of question that I did. And while I was doing that, I ran into an Irakanji boss named Whispering Ritual Lord, which isn't that interesting, but we don't usually find bosses that are named in such a manner, so I found it to be noteworthy.
Did he have a glowing aura?
Yeah, he's a ritualist boss.
Yeah. I found one of those as well while I was running the next primary quest.
Which quest would that be?
That would be Into the Whirlpool.
Yours was called interesting. So yours was called Into the Whirlpool. Mine is called Journey to the Whirlpool.
Yes. Yep. And I basically have to go through Morostov Trail. So that I've got some dredge to fight through, and some more wardens and mantises. No, I got no new. I didn't have really any new enemy types this playthrough. And
just the same old.
Yeah, and right before I made it into the Unwaking Waters outpost, there was a ritualist boss called Ritualist Construct. That was his name, Ritualist's Construct.
Yeah, I ran into the Assassin's Construct too. They're just the guys from the end of Sunjian District. They just spawn with afflicted mobs in these endgame zones.
And I was like, I wonder what elite skill he has. And he had Soul Twisting, which I didn't actually have on my account, so I promptly went into the outpost, equipped a Capsig, came back, killed him again, and got Soul Twisting unlocked on my account.
Do you know about Soul Twisting?
I know it's a thing, but I always did Signet of Spirits, so... but I've always been interested in the whole Soul Twisting meta build.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I couldn't even tell you what the skill does, but I know it's one of the don't leave home without one hard mode hero builds. I run a triple ritualist. I know triple mesmer is kind of the thing right now, but I do the triple spirit.
Triple writ. Yeah,
I do the Signet of Spirits and the Signet of Ghostly Might and Soul Twisting, and nice. I think that's pretty cool. So. Look into Soul Twisting. It's good stuff.
Now I will, because I finally have the skill unlocked after how many years?
Yeah, it's a defensive skill. So if you ever find you're taking too much heat, it could be a good option to take.
Nice.
Yeah, I talked to a guy named Petrus in Leviathan Pits. He was like in the he was in the mission. He's like a guy that came along. So
Mm-hmm.
he's there. And he said that now that the Kurziks and the Luxons are allied against Shiro, we have to go to the Unwaking Waters and find the Harvest Temple. He says that we'll find a power there that will help us send Shiro back to the underworld. This is like the thinnest reason
Yeah.
to go somewhere.
Yeah, because wasn't the whole point of gaining the Luxons and the Kurziks trust it to convince them that if they allied together and joined forces with us, that they would be the thing that would turn the tides. But now we need this other thing.
Yeah, and I have a feeling this is here because like they had this idea for a very cool set piece and a very cool character, both of which are
Mm-hmm.
included in this mission, that they
Yeah.
couldn't really figure out how to work into the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah, so they were just like, well, we're fucking going here. um, so
Yes.
we go over to the Unwaking Waters mission outpost, and from the outpost you can see the top of the Harvest Temple
Yes.
jutting out, which I believe is going to be our thumbnail for our episode.
Yes, it is.
Which it looks pretty spooky.
It does.
It's all dark, right? It looks kind of like Pajama Sam out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like the Harvest Temple. So it's the Harvest Temple from the CGI trailer. If you've seen the CGI trailer, you know what I'm talking about. And there's basically a big whirlpool that came up all around it that is the Jade Sea, right? So you can only see like the top of it peeking out. The rest is like down deep into the whirlpool that's now, of course, petrified. It's very
Now,
cool.
yeah. So before we get into Unwicking Waters, when you finished Journey to the Whirlpool, did you get a cutscene?
Yes, there is a cutscene that is a flashback, and it's everything that we already know from the CGI trailer.
Yeah, so they've finally written in somewhat the CGI trailer into the game,
Yes,
which I thought was cool.
because we've been getting hints at the events of the CGI trailer throughout the whole
Yeah.
game, but they do actually put in like the Emperor's procession, and there's a little more information because there's dialogue in this, right? There's no dialogue in the CGI trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But the Emperor, basically, it's supposed to only be the Emperor that goes into the Harvest Temple.
Yes.
No one is supposed to go with him.
No.
But the Emperor says, hey, I want my bodyguard and my retinue to come with me.
Yeah.
And of course,
And the guard is confused.
Yeah,
The
of
guard's
course.
like, well, why? You said that it was only supposed to be you. And he says, there's been a change of plans.
and Shiro hears him say that.
Yes.
And so that, of course, stokes the paranoia within Shiro. And Shiro's like hearing voices as they ascend the tower.
Yeah, he's basically hearing the fortune teller.
And the Emperor and himself. Like he's hearing
Yeah.
several like echoes of things that have already been said throughout the plot. That basically lead him to the conclusion, I got to do it.
Yeah.
And the cutscene fades with him pulling out his swords and running up to the Emperor.
Yeah, and all you hear is the sounds of swords slashing and people being cut down.
Which they could have showed it because they showed him straight up murk the fortune teller.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they could have showed it. It like wasn't too violent. Like they've already shown an innocent human being being butchered by Shiro, but the fade to black was a nice artistic touch.
Yes, I agree.
And then we're plopped into the mission outpost, and they're like, you gotta go to the Harvest Temple.
Yeah, so I'm curious. You know, Togo's been out with the Luxons, right? He's been hanging out with you and Eldaria, and he had nothing, like, did he learn anything from Eldaria? Like, did he learn anything with the Luxons? Did anything of interest happen while he was out there, and like in his dialogue?
No.
Okay.
He just
Well-
says like standard Master Togo stuff. Like, we're here.
Right.
Well, we gotta
Yes.
get to the Harvest Temple.
Right.
Nothing
Well,
stood
'cause-
out to me.
Yeah, no, and I've been waiting this entire time because I had Mhenlo for the Kurziks for anybody to drop as to why they just revere him. And I got nothing except for this one acolyte who's guarding the entrance to the Unwaking Waters outpost. That when he sees him, he's like, Mhenlo? We all thought you were. And he's like, dead? Yeah, so I've heard, but no, I'm still here. And that's all we get.
I
And I'm
love
like,
that.
oh, why do they love him so much? What did he do?
Here's the thing: some mysteries,
Are better left as mysteries.
just get better the longer they go
Yeah.
unsolved. Where did Avenia go? No, we won't go there. Um, but
Right.
yeah, I kind of like I'm turning around on the Mhenlo mystery. Like I kind of like that
Hmm.
he's just a rock star, but nobody will talk about why.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of great. Um, yeah, I got there and we kind of just go inside and I don't remember if I talked to. I don't think I talked to the podium guy for this because I don't got
Um,
either that or he did not have anything interesting to say.
did you have to turn the quest into Redemptor Izar?
It would have been some Luxon guy on my side, I
Mm,
think, because we've got this is another one of those opposite side
yeah. Right, that's right, that's right, that's right. Yeah.
missions where you do it with another player, and I actually spawned into the mission with another player. Like
Nice.
somebody queued the mission at the same time as me, and we did it together,
Nice.
which I thought was very cool for a 20-year-old game.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, no, I had some NPC, I guess, called Hector. They didn't have any henchmen or heroes. It was just Hector, and then Hector died.
wow,
And I was like, wow, okay.
Hector, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's the podium guy that I
I
didn't
don't
talk
know.
to. Um, so you didn't talk to you didn't find anyone else to talk to in the mission outpost.
No, I only talked to the Redemptor guy, and he was like, surprised to see you.
Gotcha.
Have you heard about, are you here to see Kunavang? I'm assuming you're here to see Kunavang.
And you're like,
Well, get ready, because he's the first to survive the taint of Shiro's corruption. Good luck! And that's it. And I was like, okay.
and you as a character who are trying desperately to follow a plot, you're like, who? What? I don't
Yeah.
even know why I'm here.
Yeah, no.
I
They
heard
just said to
Master
the
Togo
temple.
was here. Like,
Right. So that's why I'm here.
and meanwhile,
Yep.
Togo's on the other side. Like, I heard Mhenlo was here. It's almost, you know what it seems like? It's actually much less than the high school slumber party. It's more like when the mafia sends two people a message to meet somewhere, and
Hmm.
then they go there and there's no one there, and then somebody shoots them in the back of the head. That's more the energy that's
Yeah.
going on here. But no, they couldn't figure out how to put Kunavang in the game, so we're here and we're doing this mission.
Yep.
My first and second bullet points of this mission read: We beat up a dragon named Kunavang. We go up to the tower and we beat her up again.
Hmm. Pretty much.
This mission takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very
Pretty
short.
much. Yes.
You spawn in on the edge of the whirlpool. You kind of circle your way in, killing afflicted. Kunavang is she's a salt spray dragon, so we've seen those before, but she's
Yeah.
like extra big,
Hmm.
and she's like
Level 30.
level 30. Yeah, she's kind of a glint, like the glint of
Sounds like
factions.
Glint. Kind of sounds like Glint.
Sounds like glint, but better. I actually really like
Yeah.
Kunavang's VO.
Yeah.
Glint's is so goofy. They kind of perfected Kunavang's a little bit.
You have released me from his grasp.
And yeah, you fight Kunavang here and there as she flies up. If you're a melee character, you're shit out of luck. You can't touch her.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I felt pretty stupid.
You didn't have your bow, huh?
Every episode is a new flavor of regretting switching from the bow. It really is.
I lost my because I took Nika and she was pretty much dead the entire time.
Oh, watch my foot, like the footage I'm putting in. I die all the time. I just like
Yeah.
I've stopped talking about it because it's not
Yeah.
news anymore. I'm just dead often,
Hmm.
and my party will prevail. Like it's fine, but
Yeah.
Aaron's dead. So that's kind of how the melee assassin is going. Not my favorite way to play the game.
Hmm.
Once we kind of make it to a certain point in Kunavang's health, I think we just
Yeah.
get teleported up to the top of the tower.
Hmm.
I think the idea is that we like storm in and we run up, but
Right.
ain't nobody
Yeah.
got time for that. right?
No.
And then we fight her again in a kind of enclosed area.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this being hard back in like 2007.
Yeah.
So I like picked up that resurrection orb because like throughout the thing, some resurrection orbs will spawn and you can like pick it up and drop it for like a big res, like an AoE res. I was like, I'm ready.
I needed it because Danica went down.
Oh no, you can't.
She ran in to like try and save Nika, and I was like, "You're not Alicia. You have better AI. What are you doing?"
Yeah, you can't trust Danica, but
No.
Maybe Mhenlo was in danger.
I don't know.
But I had another player on my team because the way I noticed that I had a player on my team was I spawn in and immediately Koss is standing next to me, and I'm like, what the hell?
Did Koss die?
No, Koss was a rock star. So apparently the person
Oh,
I was grouped
wow.
with had some sweet builds on their
Yeah.
heroes because we shredded this thing and
Nice.
no one even really got hurt.
That's great.
I was just standing there with my resurrection orb being useless. Eventually I dropped it and joined in the wailing on Kunavang. But yeah, took her down pretty much no issues because I got spawned in with the greatest gamer of all time.
Who carried you?
And then Kunavang talks to us?
Yes.
Does she tell us why we're there?
No.
She doesn't. No.
She just tells you. She thanks you for freeing her from Shiro's grasp. Tells you that he corrupted her flesh and tried to corrupt her mind as well, but she resisted. And you try to be all magnanimous. It's like, no need to thank me. And she gets really salty and is like, look, I could swallow you whole. When someone gives you a gift and thanks you, you just accept it. And I was like, oh, damn.
I actually really liked that. I thought that was super funny. I really liked it too. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
She says, never refuse advice from someone who can swallow you whole.
Yeah.
And she says it super matter-of-factly. Like,
I know,
the line delivery is excellent.
It's great.
And she mentions that she'll grant us some powerful magic to help us when the time is right.
Yes.
I did not get to see my character in this cutscene because my party's partner was the instance owner. So
okay.
My whole cutscene is done by a female ranger.
Oh, well, alrighty then.
Yeah. So Aaron did not get to talk to Kunavang directly.
Well, I got to talk to Kunavang, and I thought it was really funny because here we've got Togo, who's until this point has known everything. And Togo's like, I don't understand what he's doing. What is his plan? And we're the ones that tell him, actually, judging by every place that we've been, it seems like he's researching. And he's like, but researching what?
Yeah, remember 10 missions ago when Shiro was like going to the library?
Yeah.
Checking out books?
And he and Mhenlo were like, hey, I think he's researching.
Shiro was like getting a library card and logging in.
He's not, he's probably turning his books in late because why not? He's an ass.
He doesn't have any money, okay? They don't have money in the spirit realm.
No.
Yeah. And then, as usual, when the plot of this game grinds to a halt, the envoys show up to tell us what to do.
Tell us what to do, yeah. Because Togo ain't got no clue this time.
Yeah. So they show up again. Yeah. And they basically give us the rest of Shiro's plan since we're too stupid to figure it out.
Yeah. Togo figures out that he must be researching a spell, and the envoys tell us that he is indeed researching a spell, and that spell is one that's going to help him rejoin the living. So it's a resurrection spell. Okay, great. Thanks. And how is he going to do that?
It's a special resurrection spell because you can like resurrect somebody. It's like in it's like in Pirates of the Caribbean how they can resurrect Barbossa because he's only dead.
Yeah.
Jack has been taken, right? Yes. Shiro has been taken.
Yes.
So it's not as simple as like casting resurrection signet, right?
No. He's got to lift the curse.
Yeah. And the envoys say he has to do this by killing a member of the royal family.
Yeah, and then Togo looks really worried because he's just like, oh shit, that's my brother.
Yes, so this is an interesting plot because the obvious idea is, Shiro's going after the Emperor. But the Emperor has a brother, too. And his name is Togo. And he doesn't know very much about the Luxons.
No.
So the envoys say we have to stop this from happening, and we're like, let's do it. And
Yeah.
we like all put our hands into the middle, and we say hooray, and we
And go team
them,
and all the things.
go Power Rangers, and then we end the mission. And then there's a primary quest you can take from Kunavang, and I didn't take it.
Yeah.
I just closed the game.
I took the quest.
Is it pointing
And,
us up to back to Kaineng City?
It is.
All right.
Yes.
I think
She tells us that the threads of fate are coming together.
good. Thank
so,
God,
here
because
we go.
I'd really like to play some Nightfall.
Yeah.
I think next episode we're going to be finishing the game.
Probably, yeah.
2 missions, and I think we are finally out of side quests.
Possibly, yes.
So I think we can just do our 2 missions next episode and wrap factions.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Which episode 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26.
Yeah.
That is 9 episodes for factions compared to 17 for prophecies. Right around the same like difference in size that the games
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So
But-
yeah, we're
but,
going to be chasing down Shiro and trying to stop an assassination next episode. Thanks to this dragon that we learned about 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Who's like integral to the plot. Yeah, factions it starts out really strong narratively, I think.
Yeah.
Much stronger than prophecies.
For sure.
And then as
And-
you are following the plot from point A to point B, it kind of just falls apart.
Yeah, and I think that definitely this whole shoving, because Kunigfeng has felt really shoved in. It's probably the weakest point, which is a shame because Kunigfeng's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's shoved in, and in a really like it makes it the shortness and bare bonesedness of the mission just makes it feel all the more shoehorned, right? Whereas in prophecies, the game is too long, but at least the missions are like connected together by writing that like not so much makes sense in like this is how a story would work, but makes sense in like okay, I can follow where they want me to go. As far as
and we've got this whole
understanding.
thing. Yeah, and they've got the whole thing of the flame secret prophecies, which they lay out very early on. That you start hearing about it, even if you don't get told what it is until later. You're at least hearing that the flame secret prophecies are a thing.
Yeah, and
So that by the time you do meet Glint, it's starting. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
And factions is really good about laying the foundations early on. Like they're like, we've got this plague, everything's connected to the plague, right? It's when the envoys start showing up and start just like plot expositioning that the effort in connecting the plot threads kind of just goes away.
Yeah.
But it's still a pretty good game. I'm still having fun. I'm still looking forward to doing the last few missions. So we'll be headed back to Kaineng City next episode to do those. Any closing thoughts on Unwaking Waters?
Very short mission.
Super short. Did you
super
get the
short.
Master's Reward?
I did, yes.
I don't.
It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, I don't know how you would miss the Master's Reward on this. I think you get the Masters for doing it in like 10 minutes, maybe. They give you way too much time.
Yeah, and I think if I hadn't had diciness by my healer going down because she was trying to save the useless assassin, I would have finished it much faster.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because resurrecting people sucks. Because it takes a long time. Keep an eye out in my footage for all the times I die. That's a lot of fun. Next episode, we'll be talking about the Raizu Palace mission and probably the final mission where we face down the Shiro. So until then, guys, go ahead and give us a follow on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all of the above. Follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky. We are at Tyria now on those. Miko, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Inky Sticks on your social media platform of choice.
Go ahead and go do that, guys. And until next time, we will see you all later. This has been Tyria then. See you later, guys.
Bye.